80
Boiler trouble.
participants. Yes,
Boiler trouble.
boiler trouble. Okay, so what are boiler troubles?
priming, foaming, caustic embrittlement, boiler corrosion, and scale and sludge.
Hail and sludge formation. Okay. So we have seen right from the beginning that what are the impurities in water, and based on the impurities in water, then we see that um, you classify them as industrial and domestic. For domestic, we saw what are the impurities for domestic. We specifically have discussed fluoride, nitrate, and arsenic. Arsenate and arsenite has been discussed. Okay. So, like coming to our topic, let us go revise the whole thing once. Okay. So, to discuss the whole thing once, we will see the credits, the books we had discussed. Then this is water, and this is the whole chapter that we have discussed. Let us see how far we have reached. We have discussed what are the sources of water, what are the impurities for domestic fluoride, nitrate, and arsenic. We have discussed and industrial application. Aridity and hardness are the troublesome impurities that need to be removed. Then we saw what is carryover. Carryover is priming, and other type is foaming. And what is caustic embrittlement? Caustic embrittlement is caused because of formation of NaOH. NaOH is not there in water, but the sodium carbonate which is added in lime soda process, the soda part of it, the unused soda which remains in water in a high pressure boiler produces NaOH, and that is why it is called as caustic embrittlement, because the metal becomes brittle due to an intense localized attack. If it is an uniform attack or throughout the surface, then the embrittlement will not take place. Yes, there will be corrosion, but it will be uniform. So it won't become like the metal won't become brittle because of that. But it is seen that it is a type of stress corrosion. The part which is more stressed, the grain boundary part of it is undergoes corrosion, and that is how things become brittle. The metal becomes brittle. Then we saw what is boiler corrosion. So boiler corrosion, apart from NaOH, the rest all the impurities will cause boiler corrosion. For example, if you have free acid, free bases, that will lead to boiler corrosion. Then dissolved gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide also contribute to corrosion to a very great extent. And then certain inorganic dissolved salts like magnesium chloride, which re, a recurring production of twice HCl is there, or acid is forming. In such a case, the corrosion is very severe. And what else was this? So these are some of the things which cause boiler corrosion. Then coming to scale and sludge formation. Now scale and sludges are formed because of because the water in hot condition separates out some precipitates. Now certain salts like calcium silicate and magnesium silicate are insoluble in superheated water. So as such, they form scale. Scales are bad conductor of heat, and they are very adherent. They stick to the walls of the boiler, uh, and they are non-porous. So because they are non-porous and they are so adherent that they can't be removed by hammer and chisel also. So that such type of precipitates which leads to scale formation are the most troublesome impurities. Then sludge formation. Sludge is loose and slimy deposit formed in the comparatively cooler parts of the boiler, and these two are there. And the three reasons are: first one is calcium and magnesium silicates. Second one is calcium sulfate, which causes scale. So, due to continuous ebullition and evaporation of water, the concentration of salts go on increasing in water, and a time reaches that the KSP of CaSO4 is attained, and calcium sulfate is precipitated out. So, that leads to deposition of calcium sulfate as calcium sulfate scale. So, in a high pressure boiler, this will deposit as scale, as well as the calcium carbonate, which is formed as decomposition of your calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate. Those things in a high pressure boiler will deposit as scale, whereas the calcium carbonate formed from the calcium bicarbonate will deposit as sludge in low pressure boiler where the pressure is less. Okay, so we have seen till this part what are scale and sludge formation, what are the disadvantages, and how you can remove scale and sludge formation, or how we can avoid scale and sludge formation. So this much part of our syllabus or this chapter has been completed till this. Now today we are starting with the external treatment. Now the external treatment is classified into two. First one is lime soda process and second one is ion exchange process. So first we will see what is lime soda process. Okay.
Ma'am,
This
some
what?
students are in waiting.
Yes.
And please enter some students.
I didn't get you. Just please repeat what you want to say.
Ma'am, some students are in waiting room. Please enter them.
But I have not made any such arrangement that the meeting will be logged in 5-10 minutes. It is open. You can come anytime. You can go anytime. 95 participants are already here. Okay. It is not locked. The meeting is not locked. It is open. Let them try again. उनका नेट वगैरह ठीक नहीं होगा.
Ma'am, they might have joined wrong link.
Wrongly.
Okay, ma'am.
I don't know. I see. I have made given you like link. Now some students are saying that their email or this thing is not correct. So they can take like एक हमारा मंडे थर्सडे फ्राइडे एंड सैटरडे 3 क्लास है. तो तीनों क्लास का किसी से भी लिंक ले सकते हैं. आपके ईमेल में तो है ना लिंक. हाउ डू यू गो फॉर इट? एक टाइम टेबल बना के आपने वहां पे सारी लिंक डाल के रखी होगी. हाउ डू यू ज्वाइन द मीटिंग्स? जो रिमाइंडर आता है उसमें ज्वाइन करते हैं.
हाँ मैम, गूगल कैलेंडर का आता है.
Yes, ma'am.
जो
Yes,
जो
ma'am.
रिमाइंडर आता है उसी में ज्वाइन करते हैं. नो, व्हाट यू कैन डू इज, बेटर थिंग इज मेक अ कैलेंडर योर टाइम टेबल. और टाइम टेबल में जिस तरह लिखा होता है उस तरह वहां पे लिंक डाल के रख दो. एनी टाइम यू कैन देन ज्वाइन द थिंग. ओके. Coming to boiler corrosion, we saw removal of dissolved oxygen and all those things, free acid, scale and sludge formation is also over. So we are here. Okay. So what we see, the external treatment is lime soda process, zeolite process, and ion exchange. And the internal treatment where the chemicals are added inside the boiler, they are termed as internal conditioning, and it is of 5 types. One is carbonate conditioning, but this carbonate conditioning works only for low pressure boiler, phosphate, calgon, colloidal, and conditioning with EDTA. Okay, so the first external treatment is very important, lime soda process. Now, like there can be a batch lime soda process which is intermittent. So batch means like some thousand, like 10,000, 20,000 liters of water, depending on the capacity of the tank. Okay, your batch process. So one batch will be coming. You add lime and soda, mix it nicely, give some time for its removal. The sludge will separate out, and the clarified water can be taken from the upper end. Or you may be having a continuous conventional process in which there can be again of two types. One can be hot lime soda process, other can be cold lime soda process. Now, zeolite and ion exchange we will discuss later. First, we are supposed to discuss only lime soda process. Now, external treatment involves removal of scale forming salts, like we are more interested in removing calcium and magnesium salts. Also, silica should be removed. And the principle involved in lime soda process is to convert all the soluble hardness causing impurities into insoluble precipitates, which can be removed by settling and filtration. So this is achieved by addition of calculated quantities of lime, CaOH twice, and soda Na2CO3. Around 10% excess chemicals if you add, this ensures the rapid precipitation of the sludge formed. Okay, sludge formed is when you add CaOH twice, the hydroxide part is formed. So all your magnesium part will precipitate as magnesium hydroxide. And when you add sodium carbonate, this sodium carbonate or carbonate helps removing this calcium added in form of lime as well as the calcium present in the water. So lime removes mostly the temporary and the magnesium hardness, and soda added removes the calcium hardness originally present as well as the Ca2 plus which is added in form of lime from this particular thing. Okay, so 10% will ensure that CaCO3 and this thing which is formed will be removed. The hardness causing impurities react with these chemicals, forming precipitates of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide. So these are the two like precipitates means here you can show a downward arrow. These precipitates are then filtered off to obtain soft water. So the precipitates formed are very fine and do not settle easily, causing difficulty in filtration. So if you see the water may be having like colloidal impurities, which makes the water appear turbid or hazy. Okay, so therefore, what is that? A coagulant is used. Coagulant like E2SO4, Al2SO4 thrice, 24H2O. Or ferrous sulfate, FeSO4, 7H2O can be used as coagulant. Or you may use sodium aluminate, NaAlO2 as coagulant. So three substances can be used as coagulant. One is alum, which in short write Al2SO4 thrice, ferrous sulfate heptahydrate, FeSO4 7H2O, and NaAlO2, that is sodium aluminate, that can be added as coagulant. Now coming to the lime soda process. Now lime soda process, like this is a batch or intermittent lime soda process. Now in a batch process, there will be a tank with certain capacity and a mechanical stirrer will be there. So you add water, let the tank get filled with water. These outlets are closed, and then a requisite quantity of lime and soda are added. Now, when I say requisite quantity is added, means what you can do is you can collect 1 liter samples of water, and there is an apparatus called jar testing apparatus. So there will be 5 or 6 jars of 1 liter capacity in which you take six like 1 liter water sample, and there you add increasing dose of lime and soda, and where you find that the flocks are formed and are separated out, that which quantity can be added into this lime and soda. Or simple way is you take the water and find out the titrate with EDTA find out how much is calcium hardness and how much is magnesium hardness. Accordingly, you calculate lime and soda required for 1 liter, and from that you can add, if this is 1 million liters of capacity, then you can add accordingly the lime and soda by calculating. So an experiment can be performed, and then you can add that much quantity lime and soda. Okay, so same are the numericals. How much lime and soda will be used or you will add for so many liters of water, which contains the following analysis. Okay, such kind of numericals we will be solving. So what I was discussing, this is a batch process in which water is filled in the tank and then lime and soda are added. After adding lime, soda and some coagulant, the stirrer is put on. The stirrer will move, rotate and will agitate the whole mixture. And after agitation, the stirrer is turned off. The reaction, the salts are allowed to react, and around 5 to 6 hours are required for the precipitate to settle down. If you add coagulant, the settlement may be taking place within 4 to 5 hours, little lesser time. So the sludge precipitates out. Now, what does this sludge comprise of? Sludge comprises of magnesium hydroxide and calcium carbonate, and the upper clarified water, soft water, is then collected into another tank or for the rest of the application. So that is a batch process. Now, what is a continuous process? In a continuous process, there will be two concentric cylinders. The inner concentric cylinder, you have an water inlet and a chemical inlet, that is lime and soda inlet. Now, when water and lime and soda are mixing here, there will be a stirrer with like a baffle plate sort of thing here, and these things are mixed here itself gradually, and the flow rate is also very gradual, so that when the water is getting mixed here with the chemicals, lime and soda, the water, because it is put from the upper side, water will rise here slowly, and here will be some glass wool or fiber, or wood fiber filter will be there. So all your precipitate of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide formed will be sticking here and will not be coming above, and water, clarified water, will be coming up. The sludge will be settling down at the bottom. Okay. Okay. So what we were discussing, there is a batch process, there is a continuous process. Now both the things, they are operating at the room temperature. Now room temperature will differ. In India, if you think, you will say room temperature, water room temperature will be somewhere 27, 28 degrees centigrade. And if you go to European countries, you will find that they will say room temperature is 15 degrees centigrade or 14 degrees. So, like at room temperature, wherever you are doing it, it requires more time or presence of addition of coagulant becomes necessary. Whereas, same, both the things can be performed in hot condition at 96 degree centigrade. Now, when you perform it in hot condition, you don't need coagulant, and the process is also less time taking. Very rapid removal of precipitate takes place, and this is how like your chemicals and raw material like superheated steam is allowed to get into this, and here the water is trickled down through the like, nozzle having number of uh, shower sort of thing, and the superheated steam will heat this whole chamber, and then you add your chemicals here. Things are mixed here, and then the solution flows in this way, and there is no filter here, but the filter is here gravity filter, slow sand gravity filter. The reaction takes place, and what all sludge is not removed here till it is moving here. Rest will be removed here, and the softened water will be coming out from here. So this is all about cold and hot lime soda process. Now in cold lime soda process, the residual hardness is 30 to 50 ppm, whereas in hot lime soda process, the residual hardness is 17 to 34 ppm. Okay, and the time required for cold lime soda process is 5 to 6 hours. Hot lime soda process, the sludge separates within 2 hours. Okay. Now, this is the most important part of this chapter. What are the reactions that take place when you add lime and soda? So, first of all, we will see what is the reaction when you add lime. So, it is seen that lime removes all temporary hardness. So, all temporary hardness is removed by lime. What are the temporary hardness causing salts? Please name the salt which cause temporary hardness. Anyone?
Carbonates, ma'am.
Carbonates or bicarbonates? Bicarbonate of calcium. Bicarbonate of calcium and magnesium? Okay. So the first one is calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate. Now it is seen that calcium bicarbonate reacts with lime, okay, forming 2 moles of calcium carbonate, a downward arrow showing that this is the sludge formed or precipitate formed, plus twice H2O. So lime reacts with calcium bicarbonate, calcium temporary hardness, and removes it completely here. So we see that 1 mole of calcium bicarbonate requires 1 mole of lime, or 1 equivalent of calcium temporary hardness. 1 equivalent of calcium temporary hardness requires 1 equivalent of lime for its removal. Okay, but for magnesium bicarbonate, we see that 1 mole of magnesium bicarbonate or magnesium temporary hardness requires 2 moles of lime for its removal, forming magnesium hydroxide and 2 moles of calcium carbonate. Both of them, they are the sludge or the precipitate. Okay, so this reaction, you will say that it is not following the stoichiometry, because you will see that if I say 1 mole using 2 moles, 1 equivalent is using 2 equivalents for its reaction. Now, this is an exceptional reaction. We will discuss it again. Here, to discuss why it is requiring, it is seen here that Mg2 plus and HCO3 minus, both of them are requiring 1 equivalent of lime for its removal. So when I say here I am having 1 mole means I have 2 equivalents of magnesium and 2 equivalents of bicarbonate are present. Total 4 equivalents are there, which are requiring total 4 equivalents of hydroxide. Now the stoichiometry is understandable. You can understand the stoichiometry that 4 equivalents of this is requiring 4 equivalents of this, and that is how your magnesium is removed as magnesium hydroxide and calcium is removed as calcium carbonate. Things are clear? Okay. So lime reacts with calcium temporary hardness in a proportion of 1:1, whereas lime removes magnesium temporary hardness but reacts in the proportion of 1:2 and removes the magnesium temporary hardness completely. There is nothing remaining behind as calcium or magnesium permanent hardness. Okay. So this is how lime removes all temporary hardness, and these are the reactions. Then what is the next reaction? Lime removes magnesium permanent hardness, but when it removes magnesium permanent hardness, it incorporates calcium permanent hardness. Now, what are the salts which causes magnesium permanent hardness? Very important part of the chapter. Okay. Lime will remove all your magnesium permanent hardness. Now, magnesium permanent hardness is caused due to magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate. So, magnesium chloride will react with lime, forming magnesium hydroxide sludge, and calcium chloride is formed. Now, because lime is calcium hydroxide, so whenever you are adding lime, you are adding calcium hardness to it. So, this calcium remains in water as soluble part, but magnesium is removed. Okay, and this calcium is then removed finally by the soda. So, we can write the reaction magnesium chloride 1 mole requiring 1 mole of lime or 1 equivalent of magnesium permanent hardness requires 1 equivalent of lime for its removal, and magnesium is completely removed but it incorporates or it adds to the water calcium permanent hardness. Okay. Then the third reaction, everyone should write these reactions. That is a homework for you at least 3 times. All the 6 reactions, what I'm writing here, one, two, three, every one of you has to write this in your own handwriting, in your own notebook. Okay, then lime removes free mineral acids. Now, what are the free mineral acids? Free mineral acids are HCl and H2SO4 may be there, some more may be there. So that will also be removed. Now, what is the reaction? If HCl is there, lime will remove forming calcium chloride and H2O. The H plus, the most corrosive H plus, is removed from water but has incorporate calcium chloride. Similarly, if sulfuric acid is there, then lime, uh, this part, I think it is not balanced. It should be balanced. It should be 2 twice HCl plus CaOH twice. CaCl2 is okay and H2O is also okay. H2O, H2O. This should be also twice. Okay. Now, so your dissolved acid, free mineral acids are removed here. Then comes the lime removes dissolved acids. Now, what has happened? Your magnesium permanent hardness was removed, but calcium permanent was added. Then free mineral acids are removed, HCl and H2SO4, but equivalent quantity of calcium permanent is added. Now we will see what is removed by lime more. Lime removes dissolved gases, and the reaction is if CO2 or H2S is there, then lime will react with CO2 forming CaCO3 sludge, but there is no incorporation of calcium permanent. Calcium is removed as CaCO3 sludge. Here, if H2S is there, then CaOH twice will react with it, forming CaS calcium sulfide precipitate, and H2O will be formed. Okay, so there is no incorporation of or no addition of calcium permanent. What all lime is added is removed as sludge directly. Okay, then lime removes dissolved salts of Fe and Al. Now mostly Fe is there, Al is very less in quantity. But these Fe and Al, you must have seen that we use coagulant like FeSO4 and Al2SO4 thrice. So these are the dissolved salts of Fe and Al. So lime can remove these, forming like if you add alum, alum is Al2SO4 thrice. Now, this 1 mole of alum requires 3 moles of lime for its removal, and the reaction leads to formation of 2 moles of AlOH thrice. Now, this is the AlOH thrice, which is termed as flock. Okay, this is termed as flock, and this is having a positive charge on it, and it has an enormous surface area. Now, because of the positive charge, what happens? This AlOH thrice behaves like a flock on which all the negatively charged dust, slit, sand particles, which because of their negative charge are not coalescing, they will stick to this, and this will become a heavier particle and will settle down quickly due to gravity. And that is the concept of your coagulant. So this alum, which is used as coagulant, will use lime and form AlOH thrice or a flock. But at the same time, it is producing 3 moles of calcium permanent hardness or calcium sulfate. Okay, here ferrous sulfate and lime of ferrous sulfate or salt of Fe is removed by lime. So Fe leads to formation of FeOH twice, which further go. It's a slow reaction. So H2O and oxygen or half O2 it should be written here. Half O2. It gives formation of FeOH thrice or Fe2O3 thrice H2. Okay, so finally rust will be formed. So what is saying? When the salts of Fe and Al are removed, it is producing calcium permanent hardness. Now come back to alum. Now alum is Al2SO4 thrice 1 mole. Now 1 mole is like aluminium is having +3 charge. So 2 aluminium is there. So overall the molecular weight is divided by 6. Okay, the valency is 6. So the equivalent weight then becomes molecular weight divided by 6 will be the equivalent weight. So whether you say 1 mole is requiring 3 moles of calcium hydroxide or you say 1 equivalent, now this is 3 moles. 3 moles into 2. So equivalents are 6. So 6 equivalents are requiring 6 equivalents of lime. So you can say that 1 equivalent of alum is requiring 1 equivalent of lime. Are you getting most of the things? Is the thing clear? Am I audible to you all?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is important part. This is 6 equivalents require 6 equivalents of lime for its removal, producing 6 equivalents of this, and this is also 6 equivalents. So in short, I can say 1 equivalent of alum requires 1 equivalent of lime, produces 1 equivalent of flock, and produces 1 equivalent of calcium permanent hardness. So all are 1 1. This is different, and this reaction, this is an exceptional reaction where you are requiring 1 equivalent of magnesium temporary hardness requires 2 equivalent of lime for its removal. Okay, so that is why in the whole table when we will calculate numerical, it is only this impurity in which we multiply the equivalents by 2. Here we don't multiply the equivalents by 3 or 2 or 1. It is all 1 1 1 1. So you can go with calculating the equivalents, and you can say the same equivalent of lime is required, producing same equivalents of calcium permanent hardness. Okay, things are clear here. With this, there won't be any problem because Fe2 plus, and this is also 2 plus. So whether you say 1 mole or 1 equivalent, it is the same thing. 1 equivalent requires 1 equivalent of lime, produces 1 equivalent of ferrous hydroxide, and 1 equivalent of calcium permanent hardness. Things are clear. Here also it is 1 1 1. This is also 1 1 1. Don't consider this 3 or this 2. It is ultimately 1 1 1. Okay, So what all things are removed by lime? Lime completely removes calcium permanent hardness and magnesium permanent hardness. Are you getting? Then lime removes all magnesium. What is it, temporary or permanent? Calcium temporary and magnesium temporary is completely removed by lime. Lime removes magnesium permanent hardness but incorporates calcium permanent hardness. Then lime removes free mineral acids but incorporates calcium permanent hardness. Lime removes dissolved gases and does not incorporate any calcium. Calcium is removed here itself. Then lime removes dissolved salts of Fe and Al but incorporates calcium permanent hardness. Okay, and finally, the originally present calcium permanent hardness, which is originally present in water, and the calcium permanent hardness formed by the reaction of lime with these impurities are removed by soda. So soda removes, soda is Na2CO3. Okay, this is your chemical added. This soda will remove calcium sulfate as calcium carbonate precipitate, and sodium sulfate will be there in water as dissolved uh, salt. And calcium chloride is completely removed by sodium carbonate, forming calcium carbonate, and NaCl remains in water. Now, what is happening when you treat water with lime and soda process? Your total dissolved salts are not changing because you are removing the troublesome magnesium and calcium. Calcium is removed as precipitate or sludge, but you will find that there will be presence of dissolved salt of sodium, sodium sulfate and sodium chloride will be there. So this will maintain some like total dissolved solid will be maintained or will be there. So that is why after treating water with lime and soda process, before putting water in a low pressure or high pressure boiler, whatever be the boiler type, water has to pass through ion exchange resin so that Na plus sulfate and chloride all are sodium ion, sulfate and chloride ion are removed. Okay. So what is the important part? Lime removes five types. Every one of you should write this. And I tell you, I am asking you to write it in your notebook at least 3 times so that you get to know. And after all, you have to solve the numerical and you have to write the reactions. So it is all up to you whether you want to score marks or not. Now, if you know that these are the reactions taking place with this in this particular lime soda process. Now, whether it is a batch process or it is a continuous process. Now, if you are putting lime and soda and these are the reactions, 6 reactions taking place, then we can definitely write a formula for how much is the lime required for 1 liter. Okay, 1 liter or 1 million liters, any quantity you can calculate. So now from these reaction, we will be deducing an equation for the requirement of lime. So let us deduce an equation for lime and soda required to soften hard water containing these impurities, this left hand side. So since 74 parts of lime is equivalent to 100 parts of CaCO3 and 106 parts of soda. What is this 74? 74 is the molecular weight of lime. Calcium is 40, hydroxide is 17. So 17 into 2, 34. 34 plus 40, 74. So 74 being molecular weight of lime, it is equated to 100 grams of sodium, calcium carbonate. Then soda molecular weight is 106. How 106? Na2 CO3. CO3 is 60 and Na2 23 into 2. 23 into 2 becomes 46. 46 plus 60, 106. Okay, so 106 is equivalent to 100 parts of calcium carbonate. So we write lime required. This is a very important expression. Lime required will be equal to 74 by 100. Now, why we are writing 74 by 100? Because when we are given the impurities, they are the true weight of impurities. So we generally use the multiplication factor, which we have seen earlier, to get it into CaCO3 equivalents. Now from the CaCO3 equivalents, you want to calculate the weight of lime required. That is why it is then put as 74 by 100. Okay. Then impurities removed by lime. What all impurities are removed by lime? They are all written in terms of CaCO3 equivalent here into 100 by the percentage purity. Now, if the lime, the sack or the bag of lime which you purchase, if it is saying that the percentage purity is 60%, percentage purity is never to be calculated 60 by 100. So if the lime is only 60% pure, what will happen? You will require more amount of lime. So the purity factor, this is termed as purity factor. So this purity factor becomes 100 by the percentage purity, 100 by 60. So you will require more quantity because the percentage purity of lime is lower. It contains some stones and other things, 40%. That is why you need more quantity. Then into the number of liters to be treated. You may be requiring more number of liters. Divided by 10 to the power 6 because the analysis of water is generally given in milligrams per liter. Okay, so that is why if you divide it by 10 to the power 6, you get it into the units comes out to be kg of lime required. Okay, so now with this part we have to fill ahead. So lime required will be 74 by 100. Everyone should write this formula 74 by 100. Now how to fill this formula here? 74 by 100 into the impurities removed by lime. So can we write calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate here? Yes, we should write calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, or you can say calcium and magnesium temporary hardness is removed. Now when you are writing this here, if you write calcium temporary hardness plus 2 into magnesium temporary hardness should be written here. Calcium bicarbonate plus 2 into magnesium bicarbonate. This 2 has to come here because this is 2. Okay, and then plus magnesium permanent is removed, so we are writing here magnesium permanent. Lime removes HCl and H2SO4 here, so we are writing HCl and H2SO4 here. Then lime removes CO2 and H2S if it is present in water, that is removed by lime. Plus salt of Fe and Al are removed, so we write salts of Fe and Al removed. Now I explain to you why we are not multiplying this equivalent with 3. Okay, because it is 6 equivalents of this requiring 6 equivalent, giving you 6 equivalent here and 6 equivalent here. So it will be only one requires 1 for removal, forming 1 equivalent of this and 1 equivalent of this. So there is nothing multiplication here doing. Okay, don't do any multiplication here. Now two things are here which are not written here. One is bicarbonate ion. If the water analysis is given in ionic form, you have to add bicarbonate but deduct sodium aluminate coagulant from here. So these two cases are remaining which I will discuss on Monday. Tomorrow's class I am not engaging. How many of you are attentive now? Okay. On the request of students, tomorrow's class has been given off, and we will be meeting again on Monday, that is in the new year, 3rd. So that time I will discuss this. These two are important for solving numerical. So all expressed in CaCO3 equivalents. The rest your purity factor and number of liters remains as it is. So you can calculate LR here. Then coming to soda required. Soda required again will be 106 by 100 into the calcium permanent hardness. Now calcium permanent hardness originally present is this much quantity only. So apart from this, we have calcium coming from magnesium permanent hardness also. So in this section, we have to write calcium permanent hardness plus magnesium permanent. The number of equivalents of magnesium permanent are incorporating calcium permanent, and that is why the formula will comprise of magnesium permanent hardness. First of all, this magnesium permanent hardness, which is incorporating calcium permanent, is removed by soda. Then free mineral acid, if they are there, that will be removed by soda. Then salts of Fe and Al, because we have seen that it incorporates calcium permanent hardness, so that is removed by soda. Then this part we have not discussed. I am telling you, I'll discuss further. You have to minus the bicarbonate ion present. So this minus the equivalents of bicarbonate ion, and then minus the sodium aluminate expressed in CaCO3 equivalents. So sodium aluminate is deducted from both lime and soda required, whereas bicarbonate ion, if it is expressed in ionic form, then it is added in lime required but deducted in soda required. The rest everything is understandable from these 6 reactions. Things are clear? So this becomes the basis of your calculation of lime and soda. Okay? So we will stop here today. These are some of the what you say rules or steps to be followed for solving numericals, which will help you to solve numericals. Okay, and then we will solve some numericals after doing this part. Okay, so what are the exceptional things that we will discuss on Monday, and then we will solve numerical. So Monday's class will be again very important for this particular chapter. Things are clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Fine.
ma'am.
Six.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I'll close the lecture. We will again
Ma'am.
discuss this slide. This slide we will again discuss on Monday, and then we will solve the numerical.
Excuse me,
Clear?
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you please show the slides of boiler trouble?
Boiler trouble. Okay.
All the slides.
All the slides here. We have time today. Yeah. This is the first slide.
Please.
Second one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a query in this.
Yeah.
In caustic embrittlement, why there is a formation of concentration cell? I didn't get that point.
Okay. Yeah. Good question.
Okay.
This is the cause. See, whenever a question is asked, you are supposed to write what it is, what is its cause, and how you will prevent it, and what are the disadvantages. Okay, so that is why this has been written.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Then now we come to his query. Okay, caustic embrittle में concentration cell क्यों form होता है? Okay, this is your query.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो ऐसा समझिए कि ये जो बेंड है, बेंड पाइप, ओके, ये यहाँ का जो मेटल है, ये लाइक आई टोल्ड यू that there are grain centers and grain boundaries when a metal is cast, a molten metal. Have you seen any time some ispat company where the molten metal from a huge crucible it is poured into a sheet form of thing. Now, जब इसको you just consider this red part or the pink part as the iron liquid poured into a form of sheet or rod. ठीक है? So in like if this portion यहाँ से यहाँ तक एक 1 inch का portion है. If you take a microscope in metallurgy department, even mechanical, there are different microscopes to observe the surface as well as layers of the metal. So if you consider you are observing the surface only, forget about the internal part. If you observe the surface of the metal over this inch long region, you can focus on one point, maybe some, if you are focusing on say 1 diameter portion, what you will find over an inch long this thing. There are thousands of grain centers and grain boundaries. Let me check. I'll explain to you if I have. I'll stop sharing and just show you what a grain center and grain boundary is. If I have a slide of that, just a minute.